Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I left my girlfriend after she got DATE." My girlfriend explicitly, because I was spending my weekend with family who had flown in from out of state and country, decided to go out. She spent, however, much of the day at the mall with some guy she said she just wanted to be friends with. He took her back to his place where there was apparently a party. She turned off her location. I noticed when I went to send her a goodnight message and asked if everything was okay and if she was safe. She affectionately said she was. I asked if her home Wi-Fi was down again and she told me she had turned it off so her parents would not know where she was. I asked where she was and she never answered me. From the bits she told me, the music was loud. He told her he wanted to show her his room because of how hilariously tiny it was. She went up with him and he started going after her sexually. She said it was late, her parents were worried about her and she wanted to go home, but from what I understand, he pressured her into saying yes. That is coercion. And I got a message that morning telling me she had cheated, but her friends told her it was. I messaged her, drew her hugging geese, told her I wanted to make sure she was okay and to call. I offered to drive over. She told me she was with her good friend and spending the day with him. I kept messaging, worried about her, with no response, until I stopped to avoid pressuring her. I barely got through work that day and got myself drunk that night to stop worrying when trying to be with family I only had a day with between months or years. She called me when I was drunk and asked me to come over, offered to Uber me, and told me she needed me. I told her I was drunk and could not be there. I had also promised my family members not to talk to her if they let me have the hard whiskey. She called me and I was apparently asking too many questions, so she told me to just spend the next day with family. The next day, while I was with family, she begged me to come over. By that point, I was already talking to family, including my sister, who was abused and by her ex, trying to understand. They all told me she breached my trust. In all fairness, they are biased because they feel she is abusive. In a previous AITA post, all responses told me I was being abused, if they believed the story at all. I broke up with her then, but she told me she needed me to sit next to her that night or she would not be able to finish her take-home midterm. She aced it while I worked right next to her. We talked and cuddled and I thought things would improve, and some aspects definitely did. My sister told me breaking up with her, then comforting her, would just lead me back into the cycle and hurt her too. I thought through all the stories I had hidden from them and my friends of how she did me wrong, and I yelled at them that they were wrong. I just slid down onto the ground and wrote this message: "You did not deserve to be. What he did was awful and it is never your fault. But you went up to his room alone with him after you two spent however much of the day together. You made fun of me for how oblivious I was at the start, but even I would have caught that. You did not tell him about me because you did not want to ruin his opinion by being too complicated. You can say, 'My boyfriend is worried about me,' without explaining our entire relationship. You could make it clear you were taken, but you did not when you have actively complained to me about how men often only befriend women for sex. And again, none of that excuses, and I am so sorry that happened to you, but that does not change that you cheated on me, not physically, but emotionally. My family does not know so many of the other cheating adjacent things either, and so many friends are telling me the exact same thing. When you called me, I melted at your voice and forgot it all, but our relationship died when you walked into that room. It should have died when you refused full exclusivity, and it should have died when you kissed that guy on our break. If I go over there now, I will be betraying my sister when I promised so many times I would not leave her again. Besides, there is nothing I, as your ex, can possibly do to genuinely support you right now, especially with how shattered my trust is. I am sorry I made a promise to you I could not keep. You were right. Your trauma is valid, and if you need to, please talk to a professional at the sexual assault hotline. Thank you for the lessons, the fun, your amazing cooking, and the geese and poodle. I wish you the very best. Goodbye. I do not think we should stay in contact, even though it burns me inside to say this. I will send you your stuff and I will figure out with someone to grab my stuff too. Update. About 2 months ago, I made a post here. In short, while I was spending the weekend with family who had flown in from out of state and country, my ex hung out with a friend. Her location went off, then she told me she had cheated, but the next morning said she had been raped. Contact stopped, then I got drunk because I was glassy-eyed and trying to enjoy the limited time I had with family. Then she suddenly wanted me over, etc. I ended up concluding that she had been date while cheating on me, and with my family's support, especially my sister, who had been herself, I ended things and dumped her. I thought that was a lot when it happened, but things went insane afterwards. I spent the day with family, and that night I went to my cousin's grandmother's 79th birthday party. She and her husband were basically surrogate grandparents to me. That section of the family was always close, so they were almost like grandparents. Her husband threw a massive party seemingly out of nowhere. That was the night I wrote the original post. 2 days later, his heart stopped. I was already a mess, trying to process what happened with my ex, wanting answers and closure, and dealing with a flat tire. Then he was in the hospital with guaranteed brain damage, and then he was dead. I basically collapsed the first week after the post, skipping all my university classes and only going to work. I attended his vigil every night after he was taken off life support at the end of the week. He was brain dead, but my family wanted to keep him alive until relatives from out of town could get back. During this time, my ex messaged me on Steam, which I had forgotten to block her on. She said she just wanted to tell me the full story and recounted her story of the extreme detail. She explicitly avoided telling me any information about the affair, lest I discover who it was. However, in telling me that, I was able to piece together who it was, a guy she had been in the talking phase with when we were talking too, who told her he had no interest in being friends when she chose me. Months before this incident, she had called a break, went on a date, and kissed him. I should have left her then, but through guilt, promises, and what I later learned was a trauma bond built through abuse, I took her back. She swore to block him and so on, but I wanted answers, and I was feeling so completely dead trying to process everything that I let her convince me to talk in person under the guise of closure. She cried and begged, promised and pleaded. I sat there like a rock for hours, tried walking out several times, but she withheld information while dripping it to me just quickly enough to make it feel like progress. Over the next week, I uncovered the story. She had been seeing him in secret for the month before. She claimed it was all platonic. She put incredible effort into seeing him. She talked badly about me too. What really gets me is that she took the train into my city, greeted him at the station, never wanted me to pick her up from her city anymore, then shamed me for never picking her up and painted herself as sacrificing for me by taking the train, when she was meeting her affair at the station. I worked when the train pulled in. It was her spring break, so she was back in town for a week. She love-bombed me that whole time, presenting herself as a safe harbor in the emotional storm she caused. I was 3 weeks behind on my classwork by then, and I was only able to be productive around her, so I stayed there to stay afloat, falling into her Hoover. But then I saw her promises broken, the mask begin to slip, and I started collecting my stuff so she could not keep it hostage. I began mentally preparing to leave. Then the emotional abuse started again. The devaluation, the gaslighting, but I tried a few times to present myself, only to be emotionally attacked for a week. Then she realized I was leaving, and it flipped into gaslighting, claims of loyalty and love. I remember sending this when she claimed I was presuming to know her mind by saying she did not love me nor was loyal to me. I am not a mind reader, but if your brand of loyalty involves betrayal and cheating repeatedly, I do not want that loyalty. I ended up aggregating every letter I never sent her into a 43-page document. I read through it all and did what she never could. I listened to my younger self, felt his pain, and became the person he had needed for 7 months. Someone who could truly listen. I supported him, proved to myself that I could love myself and that I was enough. That was what gave me closure, myself, not her. Closure never comes from another person, only from you. It was hard at first, but I got myself into therapy, started attending Codependence Anonymous meetings, and reconnected with friends and family better than I ever had before in my life. I also realized that I was likely dealing with someone with comorbid borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, especially since she would explicitly revoke her empathy and love at times, among many other things you can read by going through my post and comment history, but she is not important anymore. What matters is that I took all that energy and love I had given her and put it into myself, and I am now doing better than I ever have been. I am on top of myself, and I am busy, but I am loved. loving it. I went from a 78 on my math exam at the beginning of No Contact to a 106 a few days ago. I barely think of my ex anymore, and while I am not looking for romance, someone approached me the other day, and I had an amazing time with her, so I am open to see where things go. Apart from that, my sister's wedding is in 2 weeks. I have been incredibly busy illustrating for that. My finals are at the same time, and I am also pursuing a Microsoft contract, so life is amazing but exhausting. I am driving out to the desert with my friend tomorrow, and he is going to introduce me to a bunch of motor and water sports, so I am honestly really excited. Plus, I am getting a ton of friends together on Sunday to meet up after a while. Life is really good. I just wanted to thank everyone who commented and messaged me on the original post. So many of you helped me, several people wanted an update then, so here it is. Sam Yantiago said, "My takeaway from this post is that if someone wants to, they would." She called him from CVS with a receipt, used Duolingo, messaged on Steam, showed up. The only thing missing was sending an actual pigeon or pigeons. On a serious note, this woman sounds completely deranged. I hope this man gets his healing and stays far, far away. Yellow King STE said, "Wow, the man got cheated on, lost a relative, lost money with his car, was stressed out from university, and the ex-girlfriend had the audacity to contact him and explain in detail how her cheating was way worse than he thought, and that person thinks OP should give her another chance." Big Consideration said, "They are only 19 years old. Madhouse. By the way, pay attention. She staged this demonstrative show with precisely because he decided to spend the day away from her with his family. How dare he?" This next post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Appropriate Skill. The post is titled, "I don't want to give my sports cards back to my dad after he found out how much they're worth. I'm a 19-year-old male and was gifted my dad's sports card collection for my 18th birthday. He had boxes of them from when he was growing up. I started looking into how to get them graded. I finally shipped the best ones out a few months ago and just got them back last week. I was happy to see how highly some of them were graded. I researched what these cards would go for and my jaw dropped. This money would help me pay for college and I would still have a decent amount left over. I was visiting my parents and my dad mentioned something about those cards. I made the mistake of saying how much some of these cards are worth. He did not have much of a reaction that night. The next day, I received a long text from my dad saying that he had given it some thought and wanted his cards back. The money would help him and my mom pay for their dream vacation. I thought it was a joke, but he was serious. I told him sorry, but they were a gift and I intended to use this money for college. Since then, I have been getting hurtful texts from my parents telling me how selfish I am. They said I am an asshole for wanting to sell these cards because they were a gift, even though they would do the same thing if I gave them back. I planned on getting my dad a cool gift for his birthday with some of my money, but I am starting to think he does not deserve anything at all. Am I the asshole? Update. First of all, thanks to the majority of people saying I am not the asshole. There were some everyone sucks here and a few you are the asshole sprinkled in, but thanks for the input. I did not want to lose my relationship with my parents over this, so I decided to compromise. My idea was to keep the cards and handle the sales myself. However, I would communicate each sale with my parents and come up with a fair split to pay for college and their vacation. I told my parents we could meet up on Monday and discuss this situation. Unfortunately, they continued to harass me over the days leading up to our talk. Apparently, having to work on Mother's Day was just an excuse by me to avoid talking to them about the cards. By the time we met, I was pretty tired of their behavior. I could be the asshole for this, but I decided to test them. I lied and told them they could have the cards if they paid me back the cost of getting them graded. When I told them the price, they did not believe me. I was accused of lying to get more money out of this. I realized it was not worth proving it. They wanted everything and there was no compromise to be made. I told them not to contact me and that I would only be around to see my brother and go to other family events. So that is how it went. Glad they care more about the money than me. I have been trying to keep it together, but it has been hard. Thankfully, my girlfriend has been around to comfort me. She is the best. Maybe I will use some of that extra money on a vacation for us. I have not heard anything from other family yet, so I do not know how this is all going to play out. I guess all I can do now is work on getting these cards sold and hope for the best. Final update. Earlier today, I attended my first family party since everything went down. I guess word kind of got around about what happened because some family members asked me if I was alright over text. My parents were not at the party while I was there. I am not sure if they showed up at all. Everything seemed fine with the rest of my family. Nobody treated me any differently. In my last post, people suggested saving some money for my brother, which was a great idea. I will have to do that in secret when he graduates. I have decided to do even more and start building a sports card collection of my own. I can pass that down to my own children one day. I definitely feel better now that this has not affected my relationship with the rest of my family. I am excited to take some beach trips with my girlfriend so I can relax this summer. I am also looking forward to selling these cards. I promised a few of you to send pictures of my cards, so if you are reading this, please remind me. This is probably my last update, so thanks again for the support. Elemental Weapons said, money always brings out the worst in people and damages family relationships. To this comment, Squirrel Girl said that and the reading of wills. When one of my paternal great aunts died, people threw fits because they were given a smaller part of the pie than they had expected. There were a lot of furniture pieces that we were hoping to keep within the family. However, we ended up having to sell almost everything and buy ourselves what we wanted to keep. All because some people were greedy and wanted a few bucks. This final post was also made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Civil Signature. The post is titled, I want my sister to change her wedding date because it falls on my graduation. My sister is getting married next year on May 17th, 2025. This is a problem because I graduate that day. I was informed about the date in March. Long story short, I was looking at my academic calendar just a few days ago and found out that was my graduation day. My school usually graduates during the first week of May, so this surprised me. I let my parents know about the date and they told me to tell my sister. When I told her about the date, I asked if she could change it. She told me that she had already changed the date 3 times and was not going to change it a 4th time. She said she was sorry and would understand if I could not come. I was kind of upset by this because I thought it was very dismissive. When I told her that, she got mad and said I could not expect her to try and change the date again and that it was set and final. Now I am kind of worried that none of my family members will be at my graduation and that I will not be able to see my sister get married. I understand that it is an inconvenience for her, but she could change her wedding date, and I have no control over my graduation date. When I talked to my parents about who will be at my graduation, they just told me not to worry about that right now because it is not time to stress about it. But I am. My parents are telling me they will try to convince my sister to change the date, but I doubt she will. Update. I forgot about this account until I checked my other Gmail accounts on my phone. It is May 20th now, and I've graduated. Everyone in my family went to my sister's wedding. I did not go. My parents left me my mom's car so I would have transportation while they were away and could still make it to my graduation. I graduated in the top 5 of my class, and I did feel alone. When my name was called, a few people in the crowd clapped, but it was not like everyone else who had their whole families cheering, yelling, and making noise. It was very embarrassingly quiet. You could feel that I did not have anyone there. However, I did not even know my school live streamed graduations on Facebook until the day afterwards. The camera angle was so far away you could not really see me though. You could only hear my voice and see me briefly when I was at the podium reading the pledge and when they said my name. That was it. Afterward, I went to McDonald's and then went home because my graduation ended around 5 p.m. and my parents did not make it home until around 11 that night. My parents tried to plan a celebratory dinner for me Sunday, but the place I really wanted to eat at is closed on Sundays and Mondays. Now they are pushing it to this Saturday so everyone in the family can come. I already told them they cannot really make up for missing my graduation though, at least that is how I feel. A dinner after the fact does not fix how invisible I felt, to be honest. They are upset that I said a dinner would not really make up for missing my graduation. They said they thought long and hard about it and figured I would still have the chance to graduate college later on and they could see me then. Meanwhile, they would not have to miss my sister's wedding since she will only get married once. My sister and the rest of the family have been texting me congratulations now, but it all just feels late, if that makes sense. I do not know. I am happy I graduated, but I did feel a little overlooked. Aaron Upright said the parents thought they had a whole year to come up with a solution and then simply forgot about it. To this, Chipmunk Dance said, pretty much the worst part about this. Initially, I misread the date on the first post and assumed OP realized the double booking weeks out, but no, they noticed it a full 10 months before. The wedding date could have been moved a 4th time. Instead, OP will hold on to that memory and always feel like the second choice. Lychee Namo said, the fact that they texted her the day after the graduation says a lot about how they feel about OP. They seriously could not text on the day of. Being at a wedding does not mean you are incapable of texting someone congrats grad. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersubs. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.